Hi everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, miss.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, ma'am.
How's everyone doing?
All good. How are you?
Very well. Thank you so
Good,
much.
ma'am.
So, very nice. Nice to hear you all. And in our session, I will ask certain interactive questions as well. Okay. So, please keep up the spirits high. Okay. Right? You can unmute or you can type your responses in chat. I hope that will work.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, welcome to our internship program, and thank you so much for being with us for 8 weeks from now. We'll start with basics, and as the weeks progress, we will turn into more technical things, right? In HEOR, RWA, market access. Few things I want from your side, which are first, we know every Wednesday evening we'll have classes, correct? You will be given assignment every Thursday which needs to be completed by Sunday. Please complete it. We have deliberately included the weekend in the same so that you guys can complete the assignment. Please complete it. It's a request. Second, no, the third thing, every Sunday you'll have quiz between 7 to 7:30 p.m. 30 minutes quiz with 15 MCQs. Okay, you have to do it, right? It will give you a sense of revision. Also, it will prepare you for the next Wednesday session. And I mean, knowledge is retained once you revise it. Okay, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I have Rajpal and Akansha with me today from our team, and me and Akansha will be taking today's session, and we'll try to answer your questions after the session as well. And in between, Rajpal will be assisting us for any of the queries that you guys post in the chat. Hope that works.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, it does.
Yes,
great.
it does.
Thanks, Rajpal.
Yes,
Akansha, you're
ma'am.
there, right? Thank you.
Yes, fine, so yes, I'm
Hi.
here.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello,
Welcome
ma'am.
Hi.
to the internship program.
Chale, let's start.
You
Okay.
will share the screen or you will share?
Um, let me share it. Okay. In between, if your when your session comes, maybe let's see. Okay, we'll start. Okay. Okay. Um, hope you guys can see the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Let me minimize a few things from my side. Right. Okay. Let me make it full screen. Right. Is it better now? Yeah. Okay. Foundations of
ma'am.
HEOR, the global landscape, as the first topic suggested. It's the basic topic today. If let's say we'll have elaborate topics on pharmacoeconomics, HTA. In depth, we'll study about various topics which come under HEOR. Okay, so today is just an overview session. In case you don't understand anything, you miss something, don't worry. We will have elaborate sessions on each topic as we move ahead. Fine, right? Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Let's start with the first one. What is HEOR and RWE? Have you heard about the term HEOR? You can type.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Okay. And do any of you already work in the domain of HEOR?
Yes, I do.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I do.
How do you find it?
I work for a related topic of HEOR that is with regard to APLD. So
One another request. Since I cannot see the chat window or anything, I can just see my screen. It would be great when you respond. Just say your name first. It gives a more connect. Right? Yeah. Sorry. Please repeat your answer again with your name.
I am Arun here. I have worked for APLD, which is actually direct this thing for RWE. So yeah. So
Which market did you
APLD,
work, Arun?
I worked for oncology as well as for RA market.
That's a therapy area. Which region? US, UK,
US,
US
US,
market.
primarily for US. Yeah.
That's great. That's wonderful to know. Anyone else would like to share any experience?
Yeah, even I work in real world evidence, come HEOR. So I'm Chandana. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. So basically, I am into landscape assessment of oncology drugs, especially oncology drugs. So I do screening, scrapping, screening, data extractions, and presentation in the BI, especially. So this is what I am doing. I have a 2 years experience until now. So until now, I have handled only for oncology drugs with respect to oncology products. So this is all about HEOR that I have been worked on. Thank you
When
so
you
much.
said BI, Chandana, it means the budget impact model.
No, no, no.
No, no.
We were presenting the data extractions data, especially data in Power BI.
Oh,
So
get it. I get it.
yeah,
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
we were into cost effective analysis and budget impact analysis. For some of the projects I worked on that. I touched upon that, but not deep dived into it.
I hope you get a chance soon. It's very
Yes,
interesting.
yes,
Akansha will
yeah,
elaborate more. That's her expertise, right? When it comes to her
yes,
topic.
yes, yeah.
Right, but
Thank you,
I
thank
no, no problem. Anyone else would like to share? I am deliberately keeping today's topic a bit interactive because soon we will deep dive into more technical things.
Hi,
Good
ma'am.
evening.
Good evening. Here, Rohini. I
Hi,
think,
Rohini.
yeah, I think we have both have worked in one project, Myasthenia gravis. I think you know me well. Yeah, I have come across with HEOR and RWE. I have worked in many systematic literature reviews like screening, data extractions, and budget impact analysis, cost effective analysis as well. Yeah.
Which part did you like the most, Rohini?
I like the data extraction part.
And what did you hate the most then? If you like data extraction, then what do you hate the most?
No, it
Which
is
part?
not like hating and all.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, I liked it.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
That's nice. You can also do
Hello,
search
ma'am.
strategies, Rohini?
Yes, Richa.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
And I'm happy to see you again here.
Likewise. Yeah.
Ajita. I was working as a senior clinical research analyst in HEOR domain last 3.5 years. Now I took a little break. I have handled SLR, TLR, and I didn't get exposure in economic modeling. So I'm very eager to learn modeling part.
That's
Yeah, ma'am.
great. So,
Yeah.
Ajita, whatever assignments Akansha will give, okay, after her session
Sure,
in the subsequent
sure,
weeks,
ma'am.
please do them. Okay?
Sure, ma'am, sure. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
no problem. No problem. Anyone else?
Hi, Richa.
Hello,
This
ma'am.
is Manohar.
I want to hear.
Yeah, so I have close to 10 years of experience in pharmacovigilance. Very recently, I ventured into an organization which is into real world services provider. So I'm a business development manager there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So otherwise, I have done a project as part of my master's, which is into health economics. Otherwise, nothing much yeah, apart from
From
that.
where did you do your master's, Manohar? Now I'm very
Yes.
much curious.
JSS University.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Great. Great.
Hi, Hi, ma'am. ma'am.
Krishita here.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I worked in Setara as a data analyst level 2. So I worked
Okay.
in different therapeutic areas like PD1ST, CKD, and psoriasis, as well as Sjogren's syndrome. So I'm looking forward to work in health economics and outcome research.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Lalita.
Hi.
Ma'am, I'm very new to this topic.
That's okay. Many years back, I was also new to this topic. And in my interview, the first question was, what is ITT population? And I'm like, I don't know. Seriously, now things have much more improved. You see so many YouTube videos, you can have so many material, so much material to read. But don't worry, all of us started sometime. I also started from analyst level. That's okay. We are all
Hello.
here to learn.
Hello. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
I'm Sakshi and also new one to this project and new one
HEOR.
to this.
Okay. And what is your educational background?
I'm MSc Zoology
From?
from HNB Gadwal University.
Okay. You've already passed out, right? From.
Yes, I'm working as an assistant professor in the University of Jammu.
Okay. Okay. Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice.
Thank you, ma'am.
Great.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Aditya, from the final year student. I have seen your one YouTube video that is uploaded on 2021. So I found from that video. So I found that it is very interesting field. So I'm from the final year student. That's it.
Thank you. Welcome to the class.
Hi,
Good
ma'am.
evening,
Good evening.
ma'am. I'm Paul Mittal. I am doing M.Pharm from Dipsar University. So I would like to ask you that how to clear my base so that I could, I'm new to this. I am from the pharmacy background, so how
Hmm.
could I do my base clear to your sessions could be more interactive for me, and I could, learn more and more.
I'll tell you how. So you have the course curriculum, which class is on which week, right? Okay. Just before the class, Vipul, just spend some time in reading all those topics. Just copy paste those topics on Google, see what information you get. Okay. Because this has always worked for me, preparing before class and preparing after class. Okay, I'll give you one example. As an entrepreneur, I like learning a lot. So yesterday I was in a workshop which was on quantum computing. Okay, it was very technical. I mean, all the physicists and IT people were there in the workshop, and if I wouldn't have prepared for that, I wouldn't have understand even a single thing, right? So I studied before that. I attended that workshop, and I made notes and all the terminologies. Like it has one something called as Grover's algorithm, and a lot of things which I could not get there. I came back home and I studied those things. So the pre and the post thing that we work for ourselves, I think that is the key that takes us ahead. So this is the tip that I can give.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, one more
Hmm.
I have, like, matlab, that you are starting us here in the sessions. You will, so there any background topic that we need to know? Whether any topics we need, I am asking that any topic we need to understand first to be more clarify in this session.
See, as I said now, Vipul, the week on week schedule you have, right? So just read little bit about it. Spend 1 hour, not more than that, on all the topics for that week. Okay, so this will also give you an idea कि क्या समझ में बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा है. Okay, so that you can ask those questions and we can help you with them.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
No
Thank you.
problem. No problem, Vipul.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Likita.
Hi, Likita.
I'm a formerly graduate, ma'am, 2024 graduate, and I
Mhm.
have been seeking opportunity to work here. But whenever I apply for jobs, they are asking me like, do you have any SLR published or something? So I don't know like how to get the opportunity. I have been trying.
There I can say, Likita, like every organization requires different kind of people. Some like take freshers, some are not in the capacity to take freshers, then they want certain experience. And nowadays, a lot of people, let's say in their masters, also write such kind of papers. So I would say it's not same for every organization, Likita, but I mean, some want any experience, some don't want. Okay, so it's a
Yes.
mixed thing, I would say.
Yeah, ma'am. I even have done the course regarding HEOR for 3 months. Like, I do learn the steps of SLR and all, and HEOR, real world evidence and all. But I don't know, like, why these matter
Keep on
is
trying,
not.
Likita. Keep on trying. Keep
Yeah,
on
ma'am.
trying. Keep on trying. Don't give up. Right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Likita.
Ma'am, can I say hi? Good evening.
Yes. Yes, Sabha.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, Sabha. Oh, you finally were here. Right.
I'm here, yeah.
Hmm.
So to for others, I'm into academics. I am doing my PhD, and my topic is related to HEOR, in which we have done cost analysis and cost effectiveness analysis. We have got 2 SLR published and 1 cost effectiveness analysis underway. So hopefully it will get published by 1 month or 2. Ma'am knows everything.
Yes, ma'am. And how do I
So
know this? You want to tell?
ma'am is my external supervisor for my PhD.
Thank you, Sabha. Thank you for making it till here, and please survive
Yeah.
for 8 weeks,
Yeah.
huh?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely, definitely. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to meet you all. Anyone
Thank you, ma'am.
else?
Thank you.
Before I get quick glances from my team that what is Richa doing, if anyone wants to speak, please go ahead.
Hi Richa, this is Harshita here.
Hi, Harshita.
I like currently I'm working in RWA data on oncology. Mainly I deal with screening and abstraction of the oncology data on different cohorts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Richa.
Hi.
This is Harika. I'm a PV professional, pharmacovigilance professional, nearly around 10 years of experience.
Okay.
So I think, I have gone through your sessions in your previous HEOR, this one, sessions which you have conducted earlier. So I was very much impressed. Because of that, I have joined this internship again.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I hope we are able to fulfill your expectations, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi Richard, this is Puneet. So
Hi.
I have total 10 years experience in market access and pricing industry domain.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to like work with pricing, reimbursement, IRP, STA, right? So total I have 10 years experience, and now I want to expand my things in HEOR, like SLR, evidence synthesis, and dossier preparation, right? So I find out this platform will provide me the opportunity to learn that things.
Thank you. For sure. We'll try our best.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Myself Raghu.
Hi, Raghu.
I'm currently pursuing my MSc Health Economics in Manipal University.
Okay.
Actually, are dealing with our projects, SLR projects and global burden of disease projects. I found this internship is very much useful to get strong basics, and my career advancement it is very useful.
Yes, I agree. I completely echo. Shall we begin?
Good evening, Dr. Richa.
Good evening, Ritu.
My name is Ritu Chaudhary. I've done a B Farm and I've also done PGDM in pharmaceutical management, marketing specialization.
Okay.
So during my MBA journey, I did a small project on market access, but it was only related to market access of various markets. And then I also did a course from Udemy, which was like
Udemy.
which was like a foundation course, and that included a lot of topic related to health economic outcome research, pricing, and HTA, early access. So I'm really looking forward to learn more about all these terms, as I only know basics about them and how to apply in the industry.
Sure.
Yes.
We'll try our best.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Shahana.
Hi, Shahana.
I'm also a PharmD graduate, and I'm very new to these topics. First time hearing all these terms.
No problem.
Little bit scared and a little
No,
bit excited to
no.
learn.
No.
I hope you start from the very base.
Yeah. So, Shana, another personal experience. So, I give a session on AI in HEOR. And in the month of April, I attended one full day workshop on AI, right, in healthcare from Singapore Management University. I could not understand even one word. There were speakers from MIT, Microsoft, uh, uh, Amazon, AWS, Google, everywhere across the globe, right? And all everything was very new to me. So what I did, I made notes. Okay. And I came back and I studied them. I studied their details. I saw so many YouTube videos, and then I attended more and more sessions. Okay. Today, if somebody runs AI in Python, I can understand. So that's how I developed my skill as well, right? But honestly, in April, in that one day workshop, I was struggling to keep my eyes open because nothing, I was able to understand nothing. And when you don't understand anything, you just fall asleep, right? So it's okay, it's okay, we
Yeah.
all start somewhere. Okay,
Because everyone here is very well experienced and
that's
very
okay.
well educated. So I was little
You
bit
are
scared. Oh my God.
also, you are
Yeah.
also, everyone is same, all of us are same. Even,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know so many things. I just gave you one example, right? If I wouldn't have studied quantum computing, I would have fallen asleep in yesterday's session as well, right? But I studied and I went, so that at least 10% I can understand at least, right?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, no problem.
Ma'am, I saw that you attended the program at Amazon. I would want to can you give what are the takeaways that you had from that session? Because uh, at Amazon, what is the kind of work that is giving, at least what it impacts, and if you can give us like a high level overview, it will be really
Sure,
good. Yeah.
sure. Firstly, Arun, Google and AWS Office, they're wow. Okay, once you get in there, you don't feel like coming out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Starting with infrastructure, that's a separate
Right.
thing, I know, but once you get there, right, you just feel like, yes, I have entered an office which is of that level. That's how infrastructure of AWS and Google are. Okay. And what I learned about them, a high level, I can tell you what are the cloud platforms they are helping with, what are they doing in AI, like how much progressive they are in terms of agentic AI now, what kind of tools they are using, those kinds of things I got to learn from them.
Okay.
And of course, then AWS may also, that day they taught like there are certain courses which Singapore government sponsors for entrepreneurs, for students, how to apply for those certifications and courses. When I went to Google, similarly, Arun, I so it was basically on commercial products, right? But still, I got to learn a lot. And after that, I got access to Google Cloud courses. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
their webinars happen, and it really teaches you the basic. What is RAG, retrieval
Yeah.
augmented
Augmented
generation, right?
generation.
What
Right.
is RAG, what is agentic AI, what is generative AI, how
Right.
they are being plugged into healthcare system, what can be done more, how can they help in, let's say, early diagnosis, how are they changing the world. Those kinds of things I learned there. That's why I go, because you are directly, उसे कहते हैं ना, you are directly listening from horse's mouth what is happening new. Okay, what kind of bots they are working on, what is the conversational agents. And in all the offices, they actually have bots, literal physical bots they have kept. Usko dekhkar ही
Yeah.
you have that wow factor.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Right.
these things I get to learn, so it's very
So,
inspiring to be in
in
those
terms of
offices.
RAG, I have applied financial RAG.
Okay,
I have
okay.
done an internship on financial RAG, means taking unstructured data, using LLMs, and then do coding on that, and then get converting unstructured to structured data, that is SQL outputs. So is the pattern the same with regard to medical data, or is it like patient NLP are you using, or what is it that you're doing?
It's more or less similar, but the only challenge here is the data. Right, the
Right.
patient data, it's very confidential.
Yeah.
Even if you get anonymized data, Arun, also
Mhm.
another thing is patient data. Now, it's not easy to clean the data. Data access is of course one problem. Then
Correct.
data cleaning is another problem. There is missing data, right? There is
Yeah.
duplication of data,
Correct.
and अच्छे से अच्छे countries do not have different data sources talking to each other. So let's say the EHR, electronic health record,
Yeah.
and other databases, they do not talk to each other.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
they are not in the same format, right? So
Right.
there are many companies like Synapse, it's
Uh-huh.
working on how to streamline the data so that people like us have to log into just one system to get that kind of data.
Correct.
Otherwise it becomes very very cumbersome. So we also work a lot on claims databases, which are in the US, right? And
Right.
it has a challenge, it has its own challenge, how to take
Right.
out that data, how to understand that data. So I
Mhm.
would say it's fragmented, it's unstructured, there is a lot of missing data there, but many companies have started this kind of initiative. So let's see what the future holds. So
Okay.
I am excited about it.
So,
Thank you very much. Thank you for your
Richa,
insight.
you have mentioned like for the claims for the US, right? So you're using some data, right? So can I know what is
Yes,
the data tool you are using?
for data tool, so
Claims.
generally,
Yeah.
sorry,
For claims, I want to know like for US geography,
huh,
what are the tools you are using for the claim
generally we use
data?
SAS programming for those kinds of
Okay.
things.
Or any other consulting, for example, IPD is an IPD Analytics is an company right who's provide claim data for the US market. So are you
Yeah,
using
yeah,
on that
no,
tool also?
not yet.
Okay.
Just to
Okay.
update, I think Equia and SHS Viva are also the source of data for EHR. So, but those
Ah,
are syndicated data. You can't, it's
syndicated
not,
databases, yeah, yeah,
yeah, they
yeah,
are not available for public.
they're not available, none of majority of them are not available for public. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's start. I know we have questions and we can have this discussion ongoing, so no problem. Maybe I'll keep a separate session for all these kinds of things, because I like to brainstorm with everyone, right? What are the career options you are exploring, and is it taking you in the right direction or not, right? Okay, but one career tip, if somebody wants to learn data science, right, and want to learn any programming language or anything, try learning Python with AI. Okay. Yeah, let's begin, because after a few minutes I have to hand it over to Akansha as well, right? So health economics and outcomes research, these are, let's break the terminology into two different sections. Health economics, which means analyzing the economic aspects of health and healthcare with focus on costs and the output. If I talk in combining both the terms, health economics and outcomes research, gone are the days when only cost was the major factor for choosing any drug, right? Nowadays it is clubbed with many other factors, quality of life, patient related outcomes, humanistic outcomes, burden of illness, a lot of others, right? So in health economics and outcomes research, it's a holistic science, I would say, to look at all these parameters. And then there are various steps in health economics and outcomes research which determine these kinds of things. They include your systematic reviews, meta-analysis, pharmacoeconomic modeling, cost effectiveness, budget impact, writing in the form of manuscripts, posters, reports, global value dossiers, and real world evidence study, which is a different topic. Now, why do we need HEOR? Okay, I might go into some basics because we have a mixed audience here. Some of you are experienced, and as you said, some of us are hearing these terminologies for the first time. So bear with me if I move to very basic things as well. Right. So why do we need HEOR evidence? Why cannot we replace this HEOR and RWE studies with why can't these studies replace clinical trials altogether, right? So these studies act as kind of complementary to clinical trials. Clinical trials have its own importance because the kind of human studies that are done during clinical trials, the kind of outcomes that come, okay, leading to that, HEOR evidence comes into picture. For with HEOR, we can identify if there is any unmet need, there are any gap analysis needed to be done. They supplement RCTs, address those evidence gaps. They promote patient-centered research. So nowadays, majority of the treatments work on personalized care for each and every patient, and HEOR helps us in assessing those, helps in evaluating and developing cost containment strategy. What should be the price point of the drug? Shall this drug be reimbursed or not? Right, that's done by the HTA bodies. Adapting data to different population, very important, because when we do clinical trials, everything is controlled. It occurs in a controlled environment. In HEOR or the real world evidence study, everything is as per what is available and what can be seen. Response to changes in market environments. Few years back, we all went through a terrible time called COVID, right? I just pray none of us have to see that time again. Because of vaccinations or COVID, many of us had COVID. I had, right? Many of us had it multiple times, and with that, there are certain changes in the body. Okay, some of us have got weaker immune system. My parents had COVID thrice, so their lipid profile is always abnormal. Okay, right. So to adjust to these market environments, health economic studies come into picture. And of course, to comply with the HTA submissions, that health technology assessment, which help in governing the reimbursement of the drugs, HUR studies form the basic. Now, is HUR and RWE limited only to post-launch? Answer is no. It is important at every stage of the drug life cycle, development phase, launch phase, and in market phase, right? Post marketing surveillance phase also. These studies are applicable in these phases as well. So, these colorful things that you see, right, they are various processes of HUR and RWE that come into picture. For example, in developmental stage, right, we do literature review, we help in predicting the outcomes for the clinical trials, we do fact books, disease primers, HTA deep diving, playbooks, and as it progresses, we do real world studies, we do pharmacoeconomic modeling, literature reviews, data management, and life cycle management solutions. So, if I talk about from industry perspective, the kind of projects that we get include, Richa, can you and your team can make pre-launch go-to-market strategy and post-launch strategy for, let's say, a biosimilar or a new drug which is to be launched into X kind of market, right? Few terminologies: real world data, real world insights, and real world evidence. Real world data, patient level data, which is not collected in conventional randomized trials. Okay, example data from EMRs, EHRs, claims data, mortality data, chart reviews. Real world insights, the insights that are generated from real world data are called real world insights, and the evidence that is published by using these insights is called as the real world evidence. So, terminology is very simple, as the name indicates. Now, what are the sources of real world data? Mortality, lab data, wearables. Majority of us use smartwatches. I don't. It's a personal choice, but I don't. Consumer data, data from registries, EMRs, EHRs, claims data, social media data. So yes, data from LinkedIn, Twitter, right? LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Insta, it is being used. And quickly, Rajpal, are you there on the call?
Yes, Richa.
So just quickly, we cannot divulge more details. Just quickly tell everyone, like, how are we doing the social media project? Like, how do we do and collect the data from social media, and what do we do out of it?
Yeah, sure, Richa. So basically, we had a project request to do the social media listening on the topic related to basically iron deficiency in women. And then we have used some tools as well, like Talkwalker, but then we had done manual searching on Facebook, Reddit, as well as LinkedIn posts and on Twitter related to the comments and basically we want to understand the sentiments of the patients as well as the healthcare community on this topic. And based upon the collected data for several markets, then we have presented that to the pharma company. So this was the entire process, Richard.
Thanks, Rajpal. Let's continue. So, guys, in between, we will give you a flair of certain kind of projects that we receive as consulting company. Okay, so that some of us have already worked on the project, but for some of you, so that it should not sound only theoretical, we will give examples of certain projects as well. Okay, so if you see, the roots form the data sources. Okay, it's a tree. The root forms the data sources, and this is a tree, and the branches and the leaves, they form various, I would say, the processes which are form of the HEOR, like retrospective study, economic modeling, market access. Then the commercial forms the patient journey, brand performance, market effectiveness. In R&D, we have trial optimization, patient recruitments. In medical affairs, we have drug utilization studies, pragmatic trials, hybrid mix studies, prospective studies, direct to patient studies. So from the roots, you can say, from various sources, what forms is different types of studies. Okay, so RWE supports in life cycle of health technologies. So it's just kind of, I would say, a different kind of presentation for the slide that I had shown, where you have seen role of HEOR right from the preclinical to the post-marketing surveillance. So if you see, right before the launch, the various steps of RWE and HEOR start taking shape. Evidence for launch, risk planning and label negotiation starts, understanding of disease burden, then follow-up safety and effectiveness starts, evidence to support value dossier doing payer negotiations, reinforcing positioning, broadening use, follow-up, real-life outcomes, value of the drug. These starts. Don't worry, once we have all the sessions completed, we will go through these slides again, and then I will ask you all to put down the examples about what you have learned during the entire course. It's okay if you cannot relate to all these terminologies right now, it's completely fine. What is the, as we were saying, RWE complements RCTs. Let's see how. In RCTs, we generally have the objective, can it work? But in RWE, now we have, does it work? Purpose for RCT to gain regulatory approval, RWE to influence clinical practice because now the drug is in the market. For RCT, it's ideal conditions, control conditions, RWE, real world conditions. Fixed intervention, fixed regime, flexible regime. Compliance very high because everything is monitored to the slightest of the degree, right? Here, RWE low to high. External validity, homogeneous populations, right? High because you have heterogeneous populations now. It's not in a controlled environment. Internal validity, high because you control everything. And RWE, it can be varied because you have different sets of population with different comorbidities, environmental factors, etc. Okay, I coming to this very interesting fact, I want to say, I was giving a talk in a conference on AI in women's health, right? And I was when I was preparing for the talk, I was amazed to read that till 1993 women were not even the part of clinical trials. Okay, and a very common example that I'll give you, when somebody experiences heart attack, okay, it's generally pain in the arm and shortness of breath, right? But do you know what is the common symptom in females for heart attack? It's pain in jaw and fatigue. If the symptoms are different, then we should have population at equal level. Okay, and another surprising fact that came to my notice was, in R&D, that's research and development, only 3% of budget is allocated, which is pure play on women's health. Right. Of course, nowadays we have these socio-demographic considerations, but majority of the older drugs that we have been designed for male bodies. If we are anatomically, physiologically so different, then should have been considered in clinical trials so that an unbiased effect on health can be measured. So since I researched on this topic, so I just thought of sharing this with you. Coming to RWE study designs, very interesting fact. So real world evidence has different connotations in different parts of the world. Like in US, it's mostly the claims database studies, right? In UK or Europe, I would say it's mostly the registries that are done. I'm saying mostly, it's not exclusive, but majority registry studies. Sorry, in US, majority claims databases. However, in this part of the world where I am, Singapore or Asia Pacific, prospective study, retrospective study, these or observational studies, they form the part of the real world study designs. Observational studies generally conducted for drugs in post marketing authorization phase. Okay, okay, we'll be starting as a company, we'll be starting on one of the RW studies, so I am pretty excited about it. Helping in long term evaluations, primary research conducted in routine practice, and time frame is 12 to 24 months. Registry can be used to create disease registry, help in evaluating disease pathology, data collected in routine clinical practice. Claims data, as we know, it is from large patient data sets, medical records submitted to insurers for reimbursement. Patient charts, electronic health records, electronic medical records can be used to generate large patient data sets to gain insights on products' long-term safety, effectiveness, compliance, adherence, and comparative effectiveness. Okay, so these are generally the type of RW study design. So if a pharma company asks me, or any big CRO asks me, Richa, can you do RW study? So my first question is, what part of the world and what exactly do you mean by RW study? Do you want me to study data from a registry? Do you want me to do a prospective or retrospective study? Or do you want me to do analysis of a claims database? These are the first questions that I ask when I am commissioned such kind of projects. Right. Now, RWE study types and RWE study outcomes. As we saw in previous study, there are observational studies, cohort studies, case control studies. In the next session, you will understand and get to learn the definition, meaning of what's a prospective study, retrospective study, cohort study, database study. It is covered there. Okay, no need to worry. As I said, today it's just the intro session for everything that we'll be covering. Then we have RW outcomes. See, there can be clinical outcomes, mortality, clinical effectiveness, surrogate outcomes, economic outcomes, medical, non-medical cost, resource utilization. Then patient reported outcomes, including symptoms, functional, health-related quality of life, treatment satisfaction, adherence, preference, etc. Typical cycle of RWE study. Okay, so let's talk about this part of the world where you have retrospective and prospective study. What are the different stages? It starts with study planning, data collection, data entry and cleaning, data analysis, and a study closeout. Very important. Study planning, generally strategic information from where we'll collect the data. Before starting a full-fledged study, it is always important to have a feasibility study, which is on a fixed and limited number of population, just to assess whether this is available or not. Same, we were discussing something about claims databases, right? So whenever and these claims databases, the data is very expensive, right? Okay, so whenever we have to buy access for these data, first we do a feasibility analysis. We generally request these database company with a list of outcomes. Are these available? Are these not available? Because investment, you cannot have a pharma company or the clients investing so much, and then in the end you say, no, we could not get anything for you. So to avoid that information, always a feasibility study is done. Study protocol, very important. Okay, budget, IRB, preparation, training of the team, who will do what. Okay, and generally the prospective study heavily involves field force. What do we mean by field force? This means sending people in person to collect the data so that they speak the same language, they are trained on same form of questionnaires, it is very much required. Or let's say if you want doctors or their junior interns to collect the data in online form, right, then you have to train them on that, right? Then questionnaire development, translation, very important. We get a lot of requests from some of the countries where English is not the first language, right? uh, Questionnaire preparation can be on paper, electronic interviews, right? Then we have observational data. Data can be abstracted from hospital records or registries. Now, when we receive the data from patient record forms, it is collected, it is entered into electronic data collection platform. It is cleaned, validated, quality checks are done. Data analysis, generally SAS and SPSS, and data interpretation is done. And finally, the company wants a technical report, presentation, posters, or manuscripts. Okay. Now, quickly, we will learn systematic review in detail in coming sessions, but it's a part of a quick introduction. What is a systematic review? Majority of you have done it, right? It's just to make sense from humongous data that we have today. Okay. When I started my career back in 2007, I started my career with a company called Heron, which is Parexel now. So when I started my career, when we used to type NSCLC on let's say Medline, the number of hits that we get today and the number of hits we used to get back in time, then there's a far more difference, right? So it's keep on changing, it keeps on evolving, and you have to make sense of this data in a qualitative or a quantitative form based on something called as PICOs. These are the selection criteria: patient, intervention, comparator, outcome, and study design. For people for whom systematic review is new today, don't worry, we will cover each and every step in detail in subsequent session. Just a quick review based on a PICO. A company commissions us a project. What do? We search various databases, Medline, Embase, Cochrane, certain disease specific databases as well. We make a search strategy. We run it. We do abstract screening from these databases. We get abstracts in the first instance. There are always two people screening, right? And the third person, it's the QC person or the reconciler. The person addresses any conflicts. Let's say if I include, Akansha excludes, maybe Rajpal can be the QC who takes the right decision, who is correct among us. Then now we have the abstracts. What do? We order the full text or we search for the full text, and we again do the same process, screen the articles basis the PICOs. Now, what is the difference? Let's say there can be certain information which is not available in the abstract, right? And you include that abstract basis on unclarity. But once you have the full text, now everything is clear and transparent. Okay, so you cannot miss anything. Now, if it is reported and given, every criteria is given in the paper, it's included. If it's not, let's say if the study, your study population is above 18 years, right? And somehow from the abstract you cannot make out. And now when you see the paper, it has pediatric population, you exclude the paper. Okay. And then once you clear the full text screening, your papers go for extractions, right? And you have a detailed extractions from which either a qualitative or quantitative findings are done. The quantitative are in the form of meta-analysis. Rajpal will be taking a full detailed session on meta-analysis. I encourage, definitely attend that session because he will teach hands-on training, how to do NMA in R, rankograms, Sukra values, everything he will cover in the upcoming sessions. Meta-analysis, it's a statistical technique for pooling results. Okay, it's a quantitative approach, but of course should include limited heterogeneity, and it can be presented in the form of forest plots, right? It is of three types: generally, direct, indirect, and mixed. When we say direct, it means when we have sufficient head-to-head comparisons that are available. Indirect, when there is no direct evidence available. And mixed is when direct evidence is available, but there may only be a few studies, right? And as I said, in subsequent sessions, Rajpal will have a detailed session on NMA. Do attend that. Okay. Right. And then there are various softwares for meta-analysis, free, commercial, general stats packages. When I started my career, I used to run this on Stata. Then I graduated to WinBugs, OpenBugs, and now we do it on R. Now, quickly, what is HTA? Okay. HTA, Health Technology Assessment, it refers to systematic evaluation of properties, effects, or impacts of health technology. HTA is done for drugs, devices, vaccines, medical and surgical procedures, prevention and rehabilitation, as well as health services. Now, what does it do? It's a multidisciplinary process which is used to evaluate the social, economic, organizational, ethical issues of an intervention. It provides the objective to inform and improve healthcare decision making process, and majority of the countries have their own HTA bodies, right? It's nice in UK, Scotland SMC. Now it's CDA. I'll correct this one. CDA in Canada. There's EQUIG. There's EQUIG. Germany has France, right? And there are many more. Okay, ICER in US, right? ACE in Singapore, and many more. Now, what these do? They provide, they help in processing clinical, economic, and societal value for reimbursement decisions of the drugs. They provide clinical guideline inclusion and value based pricing. At what price point shall the drug be introduced in the market, shall be reimbursed? The core components of it include clinical effectiveness, cost effectiveness, budget impact, and other social considerations. So, whenever we get any HTA submission, the components for that project include a systematic review, a pharmacoeconomic model, cost effectiveness, budget impact, majority of the times both. And the systematic reviews also that we get include your clinical, economic, humanistic, quality of life outcomes, right? And many more. Okay, and then the end result is in the form of a global value dossier. So these are some of the HTA bodies. US we were saying ICER, UK, nice. Okay, Canada CDA, Germany EQUIG, Australia PBAC, and India now it's HTA India and Department of Health Research. This can be the interview question for freshers who are seeking jobs. This is generally what is asked. You can take a snapshot if you want. Take. Okay. Right. Now, how does it? So it's generally a lengthy process. Okay. Now, what does a general process include? It includes what is the decision problem, what is the problem that is coming in the HTA decision, what kind of analysis is required, does it involve systematic reviews, it involves model, and how is it decided that the evidence is strong enough to support that decision, and when is that decision to be taken? If the drug needs to be reimbursed, what should be the point in time when that decision needs to be applied, and how and when the decision is to be implemented? HTA bodies, they many a times have open houses where these debates are going on. The pharma companies present their results, and many a times there are objection handlers, and for that there are open houses where normal people like us can also go and attend those discussions. Till today I haven't had a chance, but I intend to do so in near future. Okay, now there are certain countries, as per their maturity level, like Australia, South Korea, Taiwan, and Japan, they established HTA system. Advanced stages: Singapore, China, Malaysia, and Thailand. Right, and it's generally APAC region we have covered here. An HTA system which is under establishment: Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, and India. Okay, you can take a snapshot of this as well. Okay. Yeah. With this, I hand over to Akansha. Once she finishes her section, I'll start with skills, scope, and career opportunities. Akansha, over to you. APAC is Asia Pacific. Sorry, I just saw this question. Yes, Akansha, over to you.
Thank you, Richa. Hello, everyone. I will quickly share my screen, and before starting with the session, I would like to quickly introduce myself to those who are new in the session. So, my name is Akanksha Verma, and I am the economic modeler with the Dual Sky Consulting. Welcome to the session, and I'll try to make it as simple as I can. Please feel free. Okay,
Akansha,
Akansha, sorry to
my
interrupt.
voice
Your
is
voice is not clear.
हाँ थोड़ा mic
okay.
adjust करना please.
Okay, let me. Is it better now? Hello, is it better?
Yes,
No?
Akansha.
Yes.
People are still saying no. Not yet. Hello. Let me just remove my headphones.
Kansha, you can remove your headphones and directly
Is
take
it
one.
better now?
Yes.
Yeah, better.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'll start with the session. Please allow me to share my screen. Is it visible?
And not yet, Kansha.
Not yet. Hope is it visible? It's visible now.
No.
No. Now.
No.
Don't worry, let me share my screen.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
Richa, you can share, please.
Yeah, just 1 second.
Wrong.
1 second. No problem, Akansha. You were able to see my screen, right?
Yes. I can see your screen.
Okay, just 1 second. Give me one quick second.
Yes, Richa, we can see. You can go in full screen mode.
Yeah, I actually wanted to mute myself.
Thank you so much, Richa. Okay, so far we have understood about the basics of HEOR, what HEOR is all about, and what role it have in reimbursements and all. Now I'll take you through the further core area of pharmacoeconomic modeling. So what pharmacoeconomic modeling is? So under the broader area of health economics comes the pharmacoeconomic modeling, which actually helps you to do the cost and consequence analysis. Like what you do is you do a study of cost and consequences, the outcomes of any pharmaceutical product, be it any drug or any pharmaceutical device, any pharmaceutical intervention, so that you can optimize the drug, optimize that pharmaceutical product in a better way. You can utilize you can have a better resource allocation, and you can have better uh, better allocation of resources based on the cost and the outcomes of that particular pharmaceutical product or intervention. Okay, so it has three different outcomes. If we are talking about consequences of any pharmaceutical intervention, there are three different outcomes. First is clinical outcomes. Okay, what clinical outcome means in a pharmaceutical pharmacoeconomic modeling? So it measures the access. It basically assess the improvement in health due to interventions like uh, a drug, any drug or any pharmaceutical product, how it is changing the mortality or morbidity, how it is changing the time of progression of the disease, how hospitalization
are changing due to particular intervention. So these are different clinical outcomes which we look at when we are dealing with any pharmaceutical product from a clinical outcome perspective, right? What are the sources to basically get those clinical outcomes? So you have RCTs, you have real world evidences and registries, which Richa has already talked about in the previous slides. Okay, so these are the sources from which you get the clinical data of the drugs or pharmaceutical products for about their survival, overall survival of the patient, mortality, morbidity, how the time to progression of the disease, hospitalization rate, and all those things. Now, what is the role of clinical outcomes in HEOR? HEOR basically. So it proves the efficacy or safety of that particular product. It provides a foundation for value demonstration. Basically, if you know the efficacy or safety of a particular product, you can provide a better uh, you can provide a better value of that drug. Why this new ABC drug is better than the other in terms of efficacy? Because it has better efficacy or safety, or it is not good in terms of its efficacy or safety. So that's why we want to always compare any product in terms of its clinical outcomes. Note that the surrogate endpoints are not a good criteria basically to compare two interventions, two pharmaceutical products or interventions. Surrogate endpoints, if you know, those are the endpoints which are collected at the midpoint, like in the during the process of a clinical trial. Those are not the final outcomes of the trial, but the endpoints which you collect during the while the RCT is the clinical trial is going on. For example, how HbA1c is changing, how LDL is changing. So if these surrogate endpoints are improving with time, it doesn't always mean that the final outcome, the overall, like for example, if in a clinical trial, if the final outcome is the number of hospitalization aborted, right? But the surrogate endpoint is the progression of the HbA1c levels. If endpoints are showing surrogate endpoints are showing better results, like if you see that HbA1c is decreasing over time, it doesn't always mean that the final outcome of your clinical trial, which is basically the mortality rate or averted hospitalization, it will be improved. Okay, so we should always make sure that whatever clinical data we are extracting from the clinical trials are always validated, and just rather than just focusing on the surrogate endpoints, it's always good to have a clearer picture, whole picture, complete picture, surrogate endpoints along with the final outcomes of the uh, trial. Okay, next slide please, Richa. Now, after clinical outcomes, what type of outcomes do we need? We need economic outcomes, in terms of the cost. What cost your pharmaceutical product is incurring, in terms of there are three different types of cost with respect, if you talk about any intervention: the direct cost associated, the indirect cost, or the intangible cost. Okay, so when we are talking about the direct cost related to any drug or pharmaceutical product, it is further divided into two: medical cost or non-medical cost. Medical cost includes the cost of that particular intervention, the drug, the, the lab tests which are required when that drug or medical intervention is given. Okay, and the professional cost associated when if the for example, if there is some oncology drug which needs which has to be like in the which is intra which needs intravenous infusion, that has to be done by a professional, right? So and that has to be done in a hospital setting. So those will be the costs associated with that particular drug, oncology drug. Similarly, so those all those costs will come under medical cost, right? The cost of that particular drug, all the lab tests which are required during the infusion of that particular drug, and the healthcare professionals which need to be there while while infusion, drug infusion. So all of it come under the bracket of medical cost. And when we talk about non-medical cost, it it basically includes the transportation cost, like how far the patient has to go to avail that treatment, to get that treatment. Okay, it is related to that particular drug, because patient is going, that's why it's under the umbrella of direct cost. But it is not related to the drug itself. It's the non-medical cost which is associated with that drug. Maybe that drug is not very easily accessible, and patient has to go very far away, so the transportation cost might be higher. So that's the difference. Then comes indirect cost. Indirect cost actually includes the cost which is borne by the patient and the family due to reduced productivity. For example, again, I'll take the example of oncology drug. Patient has to get a chemotherapy, he'll have to go to a hospital, and after having the chemo, he is not in a very physical state that he has to be assisted, he has to be there by somebody, he has to be there with somebody, his some caregiver has to be there. So the person, he'll be off his work, and the person who is accompanying him or her will be also not productive that day, because he'll be taking leave from his office or his work, and he'll be accompanying the patient. So the cost, this is the indirect cost, basically the cost which is incurred due to loss of productivity. So the patient and the caregiver who are going to hospital for the treatment are actually not productive in that time, and there would be the loss of wage. There would be the patient would not be working, and there will be productivity lost. Therefore, that is also a cost which is included in the economic evaluation, which is called as indirect cost. Okay. Then the third one is intangible cost. These costs are basically non-financial ones, which are not expressed in monetary values. For example, the pain which comes along with the treatment, the anxiety which comes along with the treatment, these are something which cannot be expressed in monetary values, right? And then there are tools which can be used to convert non financial outcomes into financial one, like you can put a monetary value to it. Okay. But these all comes under intangible cost. Again, I'll take the example of oncology drug. The patient who has gone to the chemotherapies are not very easy to take. It comes with a lot of other symptoms, other conditions. So those will come under the section of intangible cost. Okay, so when we are talking about the economic outcomes of a particular intervention of a particular pharmaceutical product, all these costs are usually kept in mind, what all cost we have to collect when we are thinking of doing an economic evaluation. Okay, next slide please, Richa. Okay, now within the when we are talking about the cost, we also need to know about the perspective, from which perspective we are actually capturing those costs. So when if you will ever read economic evaluation paper, you will see that the cost, it will be written that from which perspective the cost have been collected. There are broadly four types of perspectives. The first one being the societal perspective, which is the broadest of all, biggest of all. It includes all the healthcare related costs, no matter who is paying. It includes the cost from patient side for assessing, for actually taking the intervention, for assessing the intervention, accessing the intervention, and their productivity loss. So all the cost will be there in the societal perspective. If the patient if So all the costs, direct, indirect, intangible, with respect to patient and caregiver, would be included. But when we talk about payers perspective, it is smaller than the societal. Here the cost only incurred by a specific payer, typically, for example, an insurance company. Okay, the cost which is incurred on the insurance company, the agency which is actually taking care of any healthcare program, those the cost on them will be considered. Okay, then comes the provider perspective. What is provider perspective? It includes all the cost which is all the cost incurred by a provider basically who is providing the healthcare services. For example, a government hospital, a private hospital, be it a clinic, personal clinic, okay, all those at different levels of whoever is actually delivering the healthcare services will be a provider, and from their perspective also the cost can be collected. Last one is the patient perspective. Patient or household perspective is basically the cost borne by the patient. Okay, it doesn't include the indirect cost, it doesn't include the productivity, the caregiver cost, the patient, basically directly the patient. Okay, moving on to next slide, please. Now we have discussed the clinical outcomes, the economic outcomes, and now last is the humanistic outcomes. So humanistic outcomes is the outcomes in terms of how patient feels, functions, and perceive that particular healthcare intervention, right? So how does a patient feel after, again I'm taking example of oncology therapy, how does a patient feel after taking that therapy? Okay, so these type of questions will be included in humanistic outcomes. So the quality of life of the patient after taking the therapy, maybe his survival, the patient's survival has increased, like he is or she is living 5 years more after taking the intervention pharmaceutical product, but the quality with which he is living is not very good. Okay, he might not want to live with that quality of life for extra 5 years. So that is the purpose of knowing the humanistic outcomes, how much better the quality of life of the patient is after taking that therapy. So that is also a domain under which we capture the information, humanistic outcomes. What are the tools to know to actually quantify humanistic outcomes? There are different tools. Generic ones are EQ5D and SF36. uh, these are different tools which provide different sections: pain, mobility. So these are general questions which are asked to the patients, and they will rate their quality of life based on the questions available in these generic tools, questionnaires, and then based on that their quality of life is assessed. Okay, then there are certain disease specific tools like asthma control test, FACT-G. Okay, these are basically used in cost utility analysis as a utility input. So what does these questionnaire give us? They give us a score which is converted into a utility input and which is used to assess the quality of life, which is a parameter to do the, which is one of the parameters like to do the cost utility, cost effectiveness analysis. Okay, now, it is increasingly valued by STA bodies when we talk about the reimbursement submissions of different pharmaceutical products. It's always good to have humanistic outcomes of your product in your dossiers, in your value propositions for your drug, because they put a very good value to, they provide a value to your drug, that how much humanistic burden it is decreasing. That's what STA bodies also like to see in the dossiers. So the quote here is, what matters to patient must also matter to the healthcare system. So basically, ultimate the center of the treatment and center of everything, whole HUR, is the patient. If the patient is feeling satisfied and better, though, that is the humanistic outcomes, and that is the center of that should be the center of the health system. Next please, Richa. So when previous, thank you. So when we talk about economic evaluations, what does it do? Again, it compare the cost and outcomes of different interventions, pharmaceutical interventions, and interventions again for a particular therapy area. What all interventions, what all drugs, for example, what all drugs are available, and how do they compare in terms of their cost and outcomes, their clinical outcomes, their humanistic outcomes, all those things. Okay, so this is basically economic pharmacoeconomic modeling is all about doing the economic evaluations where you can compare the cost and outcomes, so that You can optimize the resource allocation. You can better allocate your resources with the limited finances you have. It helps inform resource allocation under the limited budget, as I said. Then evaluations required by HTA bodies are bodies worldwide. So worldwide, you have to provide pharmacoeconomic evaluations along with your uh, when you are actually submitting for the health technology, when you are submitting the health technology assessments, these type of pharmacoeconomic evaluations are required in the dossiers or in your value propositions. What is the key decision metric? Usually incremental cost effectiveness ratio is a metric which is provided, which I will discuss in our upcoming slides. What is it? Next slide please, Richa. So let's quickly discuss about the different types of economic evaluations which are done uh, when we think of doing an economic evaluation. The first one is cost minimization, is the simplest of all, where you are comparing two or more treatment options where you have clinical equivalent clinical effectiveness. So this particular type of analysis is applicable only when the clinical effectiveness of all the comparators is same. Okay, you cannot do it in therapies, in disease, in products where the clinical effectiveness is not the same, because ultimately in this analysis you are choosing the less the one with the lower cost. Okay, so the clinical effectiveness has to be equivalent, right? Now the what are the different steps? I'll quickly go through all the steps. So you determine the treatment. You first think about the your disease area, your disease area is. You identify the different treatment alternatives which are there for that particular disease, right? You select therapies, uh, only therapies which have proven equivalent outcomes, right? Then you determine the perspective. The perspective is from whose viewpoint, from which perspective actually you are trying to calculate the cost. Okay, either the perspective could be patient provider, payer, or societal perspective, right? The common perspective includes healthcare provider cost, patient out of pocket expenses, or total societal, right? So the total societal cost is the broader one. Then you have the provider perspective from the hospital perspective, right? So you can choose at this stage which from which perspective you want to do the analysis. Next slide please. Once you have determined the perspective, you measure the cost. Now you have to include all the costs, direct and indirect, based on your perspective. Okay, direct medical cost, again, all those different type of costs are included, like drug acquisition cost, the cost of your drug, the hospital stays associated with that drug, then physician fees, then non-medical cost, again transportation cost and caregiver support if any. Indirect cost would be the loss of productivity or absenteeism due to that treatment. Okay, now compare total cost. Whatever the cost, now you have gathered the cost of all your treatment alternatives. You have gathered all the cost. Once you have the cost, you compare the total cost of each product of all the alternatives. Okay, you sum of cost of all different types of cost for different alternatives, and then you compare. You basically determine the objective is to determine the least uh, the objective is to determine the least. Sorry, Richa, you are going back. The motive here is to select the one with the least cost. Okay. Next is cost effectiveness analysis. Once so the cost minimization was where we have equal clinical effectiveness. Now in cost effectiveness analysis, you can evaluate the cost and outcomes of different intervention where it's not important to have equal clinical effectiveness. Okay, so what do you do is you measure the cost, and the effectiveness measure is usually in terms of life year gained or symptom free days, hospitalizations averted, right? Quality adjusted life years is also reported as cost effectiveness analysis, but usually the analysis where you do cost, you compare the effectiveness in terms of qualities, it is termed as cost utility analysis, not cost effectiveness analysis. These are used like synonymously. So somewhere you will see cost effectiveness analysis, somewhere you will see cost utility analysis, but the idea is the same. You are comparing the cost and the effectiveness of the different products. Okay, so what are the steps? Again, you define your objective and your perspective. This is the first step. Beginning with your economic evaluation, you first need to determine the goal. What do you want to see from your analysis? You uh, you determine the perspective, from which perspective you want to actually do the analysis. Determine all the alternatives which are there for your particular disease area. Then measure the cost, again direct, indirect, intangibles. Next slide please. Once you have done, you have measured the cost. Now you will measure the effectiveness. Effectiveness will be measured in the terms of either life years gained, qualities, disease progression rate, how much the disease is progressing after the different treatments, reduction in symptoms. All these clinical outcomes, from where do you get all these clinical outcomes? I've already told you. From where do you get all these clinical outcomes? Answers please, anybody?
Clinical trials.
Yes, clinical trials, real world studies, right? Real world evidences. So you will get all these clinical outcome data from your trials. Once you have your effectiveness, you calculate the incremental cost effectiveness ratios. In the cost minimization analysis, what you did, you just compared the total cost of each intervention and saw which one has the lowest cost, right? But here you will do the comparison in terms of cost effectiveness ratio, incremental cost effectiveness ratio. And how do you do that? You compare only two interventions at a time, two drugs, two therapies. Okay, you subtract the cost of both. Like you take the full cost of each intervention, including direct, indirect, intangible, whatever you want to have. Okay, based on your perspective, you first calculate total cost, and then what you do, you subtract your cost of intervention from your comparator. Okay, and then uh, on the other hand, you will do the same activity with the effectiveness. You will have the effectiveness in terms of, let's say, life years gained for your drug A and life years gained from drug B. You will do the subtraction, you will do the difference of both. So you have difference of cost in the numerator and difference of effectiveness, that is incremental life years gained, in your denominator. This is called as incremental cost effectiveness ratio. Okay, so the ICER helps you to compare two interventions by assessing the additional cost required per unit of life benefit gained. The life benefit gained here in my example was the life years gained. Okay, so the ICER simply means the difference of the cost of the two interventions, to your two drugs, difference of cost divided by the difference of their health benefits. Health benefits can be in terms of life years gained, qualities gained, disease progression rates, or reduction in symptoms, whatever your parameter of clinical outcome is. Okay, this ratio is called as incremental cost effectiveness ratio, where in the numerator you have cost difference and in denominator you have effectiveness difference. Okay, now
if your ISO value is lower, what does it mean? What does it indicate? It indicates that your drug, your intervention is more cost effective. You have the difference, right? You have the difference of both the drugs, the cost difference of your cost and difference of your benefits. The lower your ISO value is, it means the more cost effectiveness more cost effective your drug of choice is. Okay, the higher the ISO value is, the farther it is from being cost effective, so it's costlier. Okay, this is the way you actually analyze it. I'll explain to you more about it in our upcoming sessions. Now, once you have calculated your incremental cost effectiveness ratio, you conduct sensitivity analysis around your analysis. Basically, you want to now see that, this is all about the data which you have gathered from different clinical trials, and you have done calculations, and you are doing the analysis. Now, you want to evaluate how variation in different cost and outcome assumptions are actually impacting the result. For that, you do sensitivity analysis. Okay, so what you do changes in different parameters which have gone into the model, and see how actually it is changing the final outcomes of the result, how ICERs are being impacted after changing the inputs of the model, input of the economic evaluations. Okay, now how do you interpret the results? You compare the ICERs to willingness to pay threshold. So the willingness to pay threshold, either they are available from published sources. Okay, one. Second is, you take GDP, gross domestic product per capita of that country, as a proxy for willingness to pay. Okay, so when we talk about willingness to pay threshold, so it is a number like how much a patient not patient, a person is willing to pay for that particular healthcare service. Okay, and gross domestic product is a way of gross GDP per capita is a way of actually uh, calculating next to pay. So usually in studies where there is another style, the way there is a it's a method, it's basically a study to do willingness to pay threshold studies, calculate willingness to pay for different countries. But sometimes where these studies have not been conducted, GDP per capita has is taken 1 to 3 times of GDP per capita is usually considered as willingness to pay threshold. For example, in developed countries, 1 time of GDP is considered as a willingness to pay threshold, and in developing countries, uh, up to 3 times of GDP is considered as a willingness to pay threshold. Okay, so this is basically how you do the willingness to how you determine the willingness to pay threshold. If the cost, now coming back to ICERs, if the ICER value is within your willingness to pay threshold, the treatment is considered to be cost effective. So the threshold now, you must be wondering that, you say the lower the ISO value, the more cost effective the intervention would be. But what is that value up to which we think we should consider the intervention to be cost effective? For that, willingness to pay threshold is the parameter. If your ISO value is below willingness to pay threshold of that country, you should consider that your treatment is cost effective. Okay. uh, Please, next slide please. Now, very similar to cost effectiveness analysis, we have cost utility analysis. The only difference between the two is the effectiveness measure which is used. In cost utility analysis, POLIs or DALIs is a parameter, health outcome, the effectiveness measure which is compared for the intervention. But it's not the rule of the thumb. You will find studies where it is written as cost effectiveness analysis, but qualis and dalis are being reported. Okay, so not no difference, the steps are exactly the same. Okay, uh, Just the difference is the effectiveness measure what you are reporting in the analysis. In the numerator, again the iso value is reported as an outcome of the analysis, and you have difference of the cost in the numerator and difference of effectiveness in the denominator. Here the effectiveness measure in the denominator is qualies and dallies, not life years gain. Okay, next slide please. Okay, now if since I've talked about qualies and dallies, so what it is, qualies is basically a measure to assess the quality of life. Okay, here quality of life, quality adjusted life years, qualies basically combine two parameters, the life expectancy and the quality of life into single metric. Okay, I'll explain it in our upcoming sessions. I'll actually help you calculate how qualies are calculated. Okay, so for how long a person is living in a particular quality, is living with a particular quality of life, that is the that is exactly qualies. And dallies is a basically negative parameter which measures number of years of life lost due to a particular disease or disability. Like for example, if a patient would have lived 100 years without any disease, he or she had a disease at a particular age due to which he is unable to live for 100 years. He will live for a lesser like might be he might live for a lesser duration, or he will live definitely with a lower quality of life, right? So the number of years which are lost due to his disease or his disability, that is a parameter which is defined as dallies. But qualies is a positive parameter where you are actually assessing the quality of life for the number of years the patient is living. Okay, again, you calculate the incremental cost utility ratio. You the basically the concept is same. The lower the ICER value, here you can see it's written ICER because we are saying cost utility analysis. So incremental cost utility ratio it gives you, and the idea is same. Lower the ICER value, better the cost effectiveness is of the drug, and it is compared, the ICER is compared with the willingness to pay threshold of that particular geography. Okay, moving on to next slide please. Yes, the last one is the cost benefit analysis. It is an approach where you actually evaluate the financial, social and economic impacts of your uh, any project, policy or your healthcare intervention. Okay, now here you are comparing the cost with the benefits. The benefits can be in terms of your revenue generation, your efficiency gain, improved health outcomes, environmental benefits. So the benefits which actually can't be uh, which are not there in monetary value, these type of analysis, these type of like benefits or effectiveness measure, goes into cost benefit analysis. It helps the stakeholder to determine whether investment or action is worthwhile and identify the best course of action among the alternatives. The steps are very similar to the previous one. You identify your objective, you list down all the costs and benefits you want to have in your evaluation. All the costs like direct cost, indirect cost. Here in the cost, for example, you have mentioned that initial investment you will put in that healthcare program, let's say initial investment of your healthcare program, the operational expense which will be incurred to implement that healthcare program, the maintenance, the labor, the opportunity cost, all these will come under the cost section. And when you talk about benefits, for example, if you have a screening, healthcare screening, like breast cancer screening program, so how many cases have been averted, right? How many have been diagnosed at very early stage? These would be the benefits which do not have a monetary value, right? These benefits, how much improved health outcomes, how much um, revenue, how much actually cost have been saved by early diagnosis of the cancer. So these would be benefits which can be used to do the cost benefit analysis. Now, these are like the benefits mentioned are not in monetary value. These are basically so you will have to convert them into tangible to into monetary values wherever it is possible. For example, how much treatment cost has been averted, like treatment cost have been saved by early diagnosis of a breast cancer. Maybe if screening would not have been done, they would have been diagnosed at later stage, but since screening was done and the cases were picked at very early stage, the treatment have been averted, like the treatment initial treatment has been done, and the advanced treatment was not done, so there would have been some savings in terms of treatment cost. So like this, you have to actually convert the both tangible and intangible factors into monetary value wherever possible. Okay, you assign the monetary values. Next step, please. Next slide, please. Once you have assigned your monetary value to the benefits section, you compare the cost and benefits. What do you do? How do you compare? There are different parameters to do it. First is net present value. So you now both your you have cost in you have total cost of your intervention, and you have total benefits of your intervention. Now you do the difference of both. So you subtract the monetary, you have put the monetary value to your benefits also. You subtract the benefits from cost incurred from your benefits to have the net present value of your intervention. Then you have benefit cost ratio, where you have benefits in your numerator and cost in your denominator to see the benefit cost ratio. Then you have internal rate of return again. It's also like what you do. Uh, Very similar to net present value. The only difference is the when the net present value is zero, you call it as internal rate of return. Okay, these are you can actually read more about it online, just to give you a flavor of what all outcomes it provide you. These are the outcomes which cost benefit analysis provides you. Okay, it's different from ICA. Now, if the benefits are over your cost, total, if the if the monetary value of your benefits is more than the cost which is incurred from your program, definitely the project is a win-win thing for you. Okay, it's viable. And if it is not, you need to think whether this program should be implemented or not in real world. So this is one example why you should do cost benefit analysis. Okay, next slide, please. Just a quick summary of all the four types of analysis. These are four types of analysis: cost minimization, effectiveness, utility, and benefit. On all of them, cost is compared, consequences in cost minimization, no consequences measured. The basic criteria for cost minimization is that they have to be equal at the level of health outcomes, the effectiveness outcomes. And result, the one having least cost is selected. In cost effectiveness, costs are being compared and outcomes in terms of life years gained, life years saved, hospitalization averted, all these things are measured. And cost per unit of consequence is ICER is given in terms of result. Okay, then we have cost utility analysis, where costs are compared. You have utility of intervention, like the consequences measured in terms of utility, dalis or qualis, and cost per unit of consequence in terms of qualis is being reported. ICER values, ICUR values are reported. In cost benefit, you have cost comparison and consequences. The benefits in terms of are converted into monetary terms, and then they are compared. And results is presented in terms of net present value, NEST, or net cost benefit ratio. Okay, next slide, please. Over to you, Richa. I'll see if we have any questions.
Yes, thanks, Akansha. Hi, everyone. I'm back. Let's discuss skills, scope, and career opportunities. Some of you are experienced professionals here. Some of you are freshers who are trying to make their career. So let's learn about this a bit. Okay, why do we need interview skills? It helps us to perform better. It brings you confidence, and it improves knowledge. So I'll share some of my experiences in these slides as well. Whenever you are preparing for interview or you're just getting ready for the day, just turn on the news. Okay, believe me, it will help you in some way or the other, because in interview skills you deal with different type of people. There are different rounds, like, right? So in some round or the other, you will come across the current affairs. It has always helped me. Just put on the news when you are getting ready. It definitely helps. I like preparing for everything. It boosts confidence, and of course your performance increases. Oops. Yeah. Now, when we are interviewing freshers and experienced people, the expectations are different, because there are many skills that we learn on the job. There are many skills which are not, which we learn on project, on the job. So when we are interviewing freshers, so what do we see? They should have a basic understanding of HEOR, HTA. As I asked you to take a snapshot of the slide which depicted HTA bodies for various countries. Now, if you possess knowledge of quantitative or analytical skills, and can use tools like Excel, SPSS, R, Python, and I recommend Python with AI, as I said, because it makes life very easy. If you know literature review skills, if in your master's thesis or somewhere you have used tools like PubMed, Google Scholar, or any EndNote software that you have used, it definitely helps. Writing and communication, I encourage everyone to write papers or manuscripts in their masters. I have done my masters in pharmacy, specializing in pharmacology, and my guide encouraged me to write 5 or 6 publications when I was in my masters, and I published them. That time I could only feel like, why am I being asked? It's too much of burden. But these things keep you ahead. They help you in getting jobs, because if you get an opportunity to write those papers, you should. And I know many colleges make it compulsory that thesis will only be submitted when at least you have 2 to 3 publications. Okay. Basic understanding of direct cost, indirect cost, like you're learning in this session. Basics about real world evidence. What are the skills useful for managing project? This you can give real life examples, like how you managed your thesis and other things. Then so whenever I interview somebody, I see 2 things: skill and will. And I go by this, I swear by this concept, like skill and will. Skill is something you can teach. Let's say if a fresher joins and the person has not done systematic review, right? So you can teach this skill. But will is willingness to learn. If the person has no learning agility, then you cannot work with the person. Okay, so the attitude, the body language matters a lot when we interview somebody. It should be curious, willing to learn, out of the box thinking, asking questions. Let's talk about many of you are young here, so let's not talk about your generation, but let's talk about my generation. So in my generation, we have been raised not to ask questions, and asking questions to our elders, somehow it was considered as a sign of disrespect. But nowadays it is encouraging to ask questions. It's a cultural shift that we all are going through. I am teaching my daughter also to ask questions. I always encourage her to ask questions. Okay. Communication, teamwork. So communication is not only verbal, it's your body language, it's your actions, it's your email writing, right? So it's verbal and non-verbal communication skills. Nice to have, but not mandatory. What is for what are good publication practices, basic modeling tools. Right. Pro tip: focus on core understanding, writing skills, and literature analysis first. Build your basics. Be best at the basics. Okay, most companies will train you in modeling tools and HTA frameworks as you grow. For experienced people, if and all these are it's not compulsory to have these skills in one person. Okay, let's say Akanksha is the modeler in my team, Rajpal is the NMA expert in my team. Okay, so health economic modeling, if I'm interviewing an experienced person, budget impact model, cost effectiveness model, de novo model adaptation. De novo means building a model from the scratch. De adaptation means country adaptation of a particular global model. Real world evidence generation, what are the study designs, familiarity with the sources of these data, analytical skills, use of tools like SAS, Python, R, Stata, the more the better. Patient-centered outcomes, analyzing and defining PRO studies, familiarity with the validated instruments, EQ5D, SF36, etc., and understanding of various guidelines like given by FDA, EMA, etc. Literature review, should know how to conduct literature review, meta-analysis, Prisma, Cochrane methodology. Coming to medical and scientific, manuscripts, white papers, HTA dossiers preferred, GVDs, AMCP dossiers, thorough knowledge of that, how to engage with stakeholders, how to translate, I would say, complex data into simpler forms. Then cross-functional skills include pair and HTA landscape awareness, ICER, NICE, CDA, value frameworks should be aware, project management skills, and publication planning. Interpersonal skills should be collaborative, teamwork, and as you progress in your career, so there is a technical and there is a competency skill set on which you are rated for your appraisals. As you move high up in the ladder, your competency skills take over more weightage as your technical skills. Also, it depends on the type of career that you choose. Okay, and in the soft and interpersonal skills come collaboration and teamwork, your critical thing, problem solving things. And the best part that I like personally about my team is they always come to me with the solution. We all know the problem, so we don't waste time on discussing the problem. We we use the time productively to discuss the solutions. Adaptability and continuous learning. Bonus skills, AI ML in HEOR. That's what I look for. Health policy and systems thinking. Okay, uh, large language models can help you in job interviews. How? So ChatGPT can help you in framing the right questions. It can help you in giving the feedback. It can help you in mock interviews, suggest improvement. Please learn the prompt engineering technique. There are a lot of videos available on YouTube where you can learn about how to give the right prompt. And nowadays, LLMs are being highly used for job interviews. I also use a lot of large language models. Now, different career options that you can choose. You can join a KPO, knowledge process outsourcing industry. These include your consulting jobs, competitive intelligence, HEOR. Can join digital health and analytics, artificial intelligence, data mining, and can become data scientists. CROs, clinical trials, real world evidence studies. Can go to government or private sector, drug inspector, pharmacist, or can join a core pharma company which has their various departments like R&D, med affairs, business development, commercials, etc. Can also go to academics and do trainings, teaching and research. Preparing for a job, start in college. Okay, all of you, if you don't have, please get your LinkedIn profile. If you have a LinkedIn profile, please become active. How do you become active? Start sending people requests. Find relevant people in your network. Ask people, message people for mentorship. Not everyone will respond, but they will. Okay, right. Attend seminar sessions, watch YouTube videos. As I told you, for quantum computing, those YouTube videos help. Otherwise, I wouldn't have understood even one word. And that's an honest confession. Make a list of common interview questions, rehearse them, and acquire any additional skills or certification. But as majority of your students, I do not encourage you to spend loads of money on it. And another thing, avoid herd mentality. Do not think if my friend is doing, I will also do the same. Just understand the value, whether you need it or not, and moreover, on top of that, whether that thing interests you or not. Okay. How to apply? Build your brand. Personal branding, very important. LinkedIn is the best platform. I use it thoroughly. Okay. Reach out, communicate. I reach out to people for business development. Majority of the business that I win is through my connections in LinkedIn. Attend workshops, seminars, build your connections, use different portals. I got my first job through campus placements, so I love them very much. Many companies have placements drive, like TCS, it has mass placement drive, Accenture, Cognizant. Okay. And then, of course, internal reference. How do you get internal reference? When you connect people through various platforms. Listen and follow leaders. I do a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts, especially by leaders. They teach you, they make you a better person in a lot of ways. You learn how to talk, you learn how to communicate, you learn to be confident. Okay, you learn a lot of new things. How to prepare for interview? Read the job description very carefully. Very important. The interviewer, the HR especially ask you, did you read the JD? And you cannot say no. Okay. Read about the company culture, company profile. Google about every company that you are going for interview. Right. Update your CV. Very important. Common mistake. If you are copy pasting your CV from your friend, please review it. Please do your QC. If your friend has done masters in pharmacy in pharmacology, do not copy paste. If you have done the same in pharmaceutics, be authentic, be original. Take help from friends and peers. That doesn't mean that when somebody is interviewing you and your camera is on, you are asking for your friend who's standing in front of you for support. Interviewers like me can catch that. Okay. Use YouTube, Google diligently for preparation of job interviews. Do your background research, read about the company. Nowadays, salaries are also available on many of the portals. Be polite, have a nice, polite body language, be your own self. Do not copy anyone else. Review your own resume, please. As I said, prepare for standard questions, prepare your wardrobe. I do not go by branded clothes, clean, crisp clothes. Do salary research, do not criticize your former employer. Okay, never ever. Okay, it gives a bad impression and reflection about you. Always say thank you. Do not discuss confidential information. Let's say if I worked on a drug launch for X drug, just say X drug, or maybe go by the therapy area. Like, let's say I worked on an oncology drug, or I worked on a cardiovascular drug. Always ask for feedback last, and whenever you get an opportunity to ask, because generally at the end of the interview you are given an opportunity to ask questions. Instead of saying no questions, I'm good, don't be scared, ask how did I do, or what are the next steps for me. Always have this communication, it leaves a very good impression. Carry few copies of your CV, dress up neatly. When you're giving the interview through a telecon, let's say, have a good internet connection. Give interview from a clean and a quiet place if possible. Cancel all other distractions. Currently, I do not have my phone with me. I don't know in which room I've kept, because I have my full focus here. Read about the company, as I said, and see the news. A very important tip. Okay. Right. Okay. With this, I thank you everyone for listening to us. I know Rajpal and Akansha have been diligently answering all the questions. If there are any that which we can take up, let's do it quickly.
Aricha, there is a question for you. What are the job roles in HEOR domain for a fresher?
Sorry, Rajpal, again.
What are the job roles in HEOR domain for a fresher?
Generally, as a fresher, you join at the analyst level. Okay. And there you are exposed to different types of job roles depending on your skill set. Okay, let's say you can be trained on systematic reviews. If you have interest and have some experience of coding, you can learn pharmacoeconomic modeling. If you have a flair for writing, you can do medical writing, which includes your global value dossiers, manuscripts, reports. But of course, it's a learning curve, and I suggest just keep on learning. Okay.
Thanks, Richa. Next question is, what are job roles in HEOR for people with 10 years of experience in pharmacovigilance?
very, I mean, it's easy to convert from one to the other, because in PV you do a lot of safety studies, you do signal detection, you do literature reviews, and when you top it up with the HEOR, let's say you have to add the clinical outcomes to it, along with humanistic quality of life. Okay, so depending on your skill set, your experience, there are different roles available.
Thank you, Richa. Next question is scope of HEOR specifically when you pursued masters in pharmacy and pharmaceutics.
People, I'll give you one personal experience here, right? So I'm masters in pharmacy, pharmacology, right? I didn't get pharmaceutics. Okay. I cried. I cried a lot, right? For 1 month I cried because I wanted to do Sutix. But when I entered job in the same cubicle, right? I was masters in pharmacology. In front of me, there was masters in pharmaceutics, then chemistry, then pharmacognosy. All of us were same because the learning was same for all of us. It doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah. And next is currently how important is to know about Python? Like, has it become a necessity?
Good to learn. I highly recommend, because majority of the things that run in AI, the agentic AI codes or the generative AI codes or the RAG, the backend is Python. Okay, if you have interest, I encourage, yes.
Right, so there are two follow-up questions on similar, that what are the job roles in RWE for people with 10 years of experience in market research or competitive intelligence?
Yeah, there are a lot of sub processes in HEOR, which involves your I would say market research. For example, some company wants you to do whether this product is required in a particular market or not. I get that type of projects as well. Competitive intelligence, where you are asked to compare the profile of your drug, let's say, with the competitor profile. So somewhere or the other, it definitely fits at all the stages of drug development. I would say I have people who have experience in market research and CI in my team as well. Okay. Impact of AI on HEOR, that's the next question, Rajpal, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I consider AI as an enabler. Okay. Let's say for a systematic review, there are many tools available these days. Maybe one review can be done by the AI, but one thing that I always encourage is human in the loop. That's HITL. So there are two concepts: artificial intelligence in the loop, AITL, and human in the loop. So when I say human in the loop, it has to be QC'd when it goes. Okay, let's see, for example, you do everything by AI, okay, and you run the codes and you do it, and you get it wrong. Okay, you cannot tell the client like AI did it, punish the AI, or AI should bear the consequences. You did it, right? That's why it's always important to have a human in the loop for QC of everything. And if I use AI for any of my steps, I declare it to the client. I give that star mark thing that this process has been done by the AI. Okay. Any other question as well? Do we have?
Yeah, they're
Sorry.
coming.
Sorry, I got mixed up in this one.
What are job roles in HEOR with experience in RWE oncology data abstraction?
You do have for extraction of data. We do get a lot of RW studies on claims databases, but my recommendation is expand your horizon irrespective of the therapy area.
Okay, hello ma'am. I want to ask you, as a student of Master of Pharmacology, I wish to do my thesis on systematic literature review on some topic. How can I develop a research question? Because there are more than 1,000 papers on one topic. Can I find the research gap and prepare a question?
Ritika, next 2 sessions will answer your question.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is one more question to Rajpal. So briefly explain the methodology of social media study. How do you catch the right patients? For example, disease like anal cancer, where taboo is a limitation. How come you get the patients for your? So there are tools available which utilize AI ML to search for the sentiments and comments that are posted by the patients. And in most of the cases, these patient comments are also anonymous. So using tools like Talkwalker, and there are similar many tools available for these, they capture those and provide us the exports, and then we do the analysis and report the sentiments of the patient. So we work in that manner. So next question, is there any specific role for PhD in pharmaceutical sciences after PharmD? If not, any give your advice for better move.
Sorry, Rajpal, I didn't understand the question and I'm trying to find the question also.
So basically they want to know that whether to do a PhD after PharmD or they should move to a career. So what we can suggest them?
Personal choice. Both are equally important. So what I can only say, like what I did, or maybe what maybe Rajpal did, right? And see, I did my master's in pharmacy, right, as I was telling you all, and then I started working. And after few years in my career, when I was managing profit and loss of my account, I was stuck with terms like EBITDA, profit after tax, and I was like, who's gonna teach me that? So I joined MBA. So NMIMS Mumbai ka distance program I joined, right? I did that. I had weekend classes, so that was along with the job. But then after that, I realized to complete my skill set, of course, nothing is complete, but to complete the skill set, I need to do a PhD. So I did my PhD. Okay, that of course helped me in gaining more knowledge. Now I'm learning AI, I'm doing various courses. Same, I think I would say Rajpal also took his career path after doing his master's in pharmacy. He went on to do PhD, but that was also along with the job. Right. And if I talk about Akansha, right, she is a doctor, doctor, right, real doctor, and then she pursued her master's in public health. So it depends on your personal choice. Okay.
The question is there any specific role for who did PhD? Yes, similar roles are available for PhDs and master's level people.
Yeah.
Next is that can a fresher join in HEOR domain having only bachelor's in pharmacy and not having master's?
Masters is preferred because we have to present our people's profile to clients, and they prefer at least a master's or a PhD degree. On a personal level, I would say bachelor's is much more generic. When you enter into masters, it gives you a more specialized knowledge, I would say, right? So I would encourage masters, and for us also, we have kept a criteria minimum of a master's to be hired. At bachelor's level, although the time between bachelor's and masters, you can join various internship programs, but it's better to do a master's.
And which there are certain questions on about the job opportunities at fresher level. So team, you can go on LinkedIn. There are various postings. You can follow them. You can find an internal referral, and you can go on campus drives as well. You will find the job.
Anything
I think we
else,
can
Rajpal?
take this last question, and
Yeah.
follow-up questions we can take in next sessions as well. Is knowing
Yes.
basic enough to crack interview? Because currently I don't have any SLR or meta-analysis publication. I'm in third semester of my MS pharmacology and doing a meta-analysis for the project.
The more you learn, the better, I would say. Okay. But yes, basics are also fine. But I would recommend nowadays a lot of knowledge is available on YouTube. Through this course, also, you will learn a lot. So, Aditya, I think you can ask yourself this question after the completion of this course, how much you know now. Okay.
Yeah. So, Richa, we can end with this answer.
Okay, so yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you. And as I said, you will get your assessment soon and a quiz. And I encourage, please complete that. Also, for your certifications, you need those. Okay. And we will meet again next Wednesday. Till then, keep on revising and learning. Okay. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful
Thanks,
evening ahead.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Go
Thank
and
you,
eat,
everyone.
have dinner. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.